lot of dignitaries in the room. You know who you are. I know who you are, and all your constituents know who you are. And so I'm just going to skip the introduction at this point. And but welcome to all of you. And I know some of you are laughing because you know this is how I usually run my meetings. So with that, I'm going to start with TACF President Con. Did I pronounce that right? Okay, great.
Hello, good to see everyone here tonight. My name is Dean Khan. I'm the president of TACF. And the TACF was founded 5 years ago in the height of the pandemic. And we work very closely with the deputies from 2 sheriff stations. So tonight we are delighted and honored to have invited the DA, Mr. Hodgman, to come and speak to us. And his accomplishment and his challenges he faced for the first 10 months on the job. And also we invited a band of brothers from the both stations to speak to us about crime prevention, tips and information that will be beneficial to all of you. And also, I cannot do this alone by putting off this town hall meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our staff members and board members who pull this thing together for me. And can all my staff members and board members stand up? And thank you so much. And we will get the show rolling, and we'll have Dr. Tony Thorne come out and say a few words. He's the chairman of UAAA. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. And I'm really proud to be here today. And I'm Tony Thorne, currently one of the Unified School District board member, and I'm also very proud chairman for the UAAA. It represents United Advocates Arithmetic Association. And UAA's key purpose is really try to promote STEAM education, and then also by using the traditional abacus and also the mental math computation. And we have a youth group, and we usually teach them more than STEAM education, and hopefully they can learn about this community, get involved with the community, and learn this. Today's subject is perfect for our students. And I think we have many students here today also, and I hope you can learn and think. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank our Mr. Huffman and for joining today's town hall meeting. And I think we are going to listen to a very good show. And I want to thank everyone. And I will introduce our mayor, Dr. Chai Yu-Ten, for my next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Thorne. Good evening. I'm Democrat Mayor Dr. Chai Yu-Ten, and welcome all the community members to the city of Diamondbar to this beautiful auditorium for tonight's town hall meeting about the public safety. And last week, I delivered a State of the City address, and during the address, I point out that our city's very priority is public safety. And our city has done a lot together with our law enforcement to intensify and to enhance the investigation and the suppress patrol to reduce the crimes. And I think during the presentation, there's a video by Captain Chelsea. I think he gave a very important message. He wanted the community to get involved and to get active in this public safety event. So today is a perfect event for the community to get involved, get active. And of course, we have to thank our host, TACF, also another organization is the UAAA. And there's a little story of why UAAA as the educational institute organization want to get involved in public safety. I know that because not long ago, their office in the quiet corners of Diamondbar City got burglarized, and the window was shattered, and the property was lost. So after that, they want to decide to get involved in public safety. So please give it a big hands so that they will continue to get involved in the public safety. And of course, I want to thank our friends from the sheriff station. They come to support us. And of course, today's the most important VIP guest is Mr. Hodgman, our DA. And Mr. Hodgman, by your presence here, you show your commitment to a transparency and to be willing to make a dialogue with the community and with the constituent that you serve. So we appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to that you will bring more accountability from the government and bring back the trust for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Chang. So hello, everyone. My name is Peggy Huang. I'm the councilwoman from the city of Yorba Linda. But I wish I have DA Hoffman as my DA. Then, you know, we'd be power couple with DA Spitzer, you know, because I love the slogans that you guys have. The great partnership between the two district attorneys. So welcome to all of you, and I'm going to, and I'll be moderating and introducing our guest speakers tonight. So I'm going to start with the Walnut Captain, Stephen Chelsea, who will give a brief introduction. There's a celebrity in the house.
Yeah, good evening. That loud cheer was from the volunteer program from Walnut Diamond Bar. So if you have any interest in volunteering, please call Walnut Diamond Bar Sheriff Station. We'll be more than happy to take you. I just want to be real brief. I just want to introduce myself. So I'm Captain Stephen Talsey. I patrol the areas. Our station patrols the areas of Walnut, Diamond Bar, and Rolling Heights, Covina Hills, San Jose Hills. If you live in any of those areas, all of our community relations deputies are here today. Louis Denver is behind me in the hat, and everyone else is in the back. So if you have any questions and you live in those areas, I'm wearing the tie. Come see me, and I'll point you to the right community relations deputy. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank me and Tony for putting this together, and I want to thank everybody who cares enough to get involved and come in tonight and take part in this. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Next, we will have the City of Industry Captain Glenn Emery.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Glenn Emery, and I'm the captain of Industry Sheriff Station. I'm here with some of my staff in the back from Industry, and we're excited to welcome our community to this important town hall. Tonight, we'll focus on crime prevention and collaboration between Industry Sheriff Station and Walnut Diamond Bar Station. As we share a common border and overlapping jurisdictions, and that's the main reason we're here to support Walnut community. Lastly, I just want to thank TACF for hosting tonight's town hall and our fantastic LA County District Attorney Huckman for being here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to introduce to you our Los Angeles District Attorney, Nathan Hockman, who was elected in 2024. He has now been serving for almost 2 years, and we have seen a lot, incredible amount of criminal filings and backlogs and lots of controversial cases that have landed on your desk. So we're looking forward to your remarks tonight. So, Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you very much. Let me also extend my thanks to TACF and its president, Kong, UAA and its chair, Dr. Torn, and Diamond Bar City Mayor, Dr. Tang. Thank you so much. So it has been, it feels like 2 years, by the way, even though I came in 2024, but it was December 2024. So it's actually been about 10 months. And in that 10 months, what we've had to do is reestablish the trust. And that is a trust between the district attorney's office and my actually own prosecutors,
law enforcement and the district attorney's office, and victims and the public and the district attorney's office. And the way I've gone about reestablishing that trust is bringing back an idea of accountability. That if you do a crime, there will be consequences for that crime. And we're going to do it in a common sense way, a smart way, a way that actually focuses on each and every individual case, the individual defendant and their background, the crime committed, and the impact on the victim. What I've done is I actually rejected the prior DA's political agenda. He actually called it decarceration. What decarceration was an idea that up front you're going to say that there are certain crimes and certain criminals that you're not going to prosecute, notwithstanding what the facts of the law are. So he had on his first day, first hour, he issued 9 special directives that said, for instance, to juveniles, people under 18, that if you engage in misdemeanors, which is an example would be stealing just under $950, the DA's office was not going to prosecute you. As a result, you saw over 4 years more and more young people who were stealing just under $950, knowing there were no consequences for their actions. Another example, if you were a gang member who engaged in a violent crime, for over 30 years, the state legislature had authorized something called a gang enhancement, which means the DA's office would file this enhancement, which would get you extra years on the punishment for the crime that you committed. When my predecessor got in office, first day, first hour, got rid of all those enhancements. And again, what happened? The power and the strength of gangs over the last 4 years has risen, not decreased. So on my first day, first hour in office, I rescinded all 9 special directives. And my message to both the prosecutors, to law enforcement, and to victims were to go ahead, the DA's office was going to do its job. We were going to be open for business. To my own prosecutors, who had actually supported the recall of their prior boss, I told them that I now trust them to bring their collective thousands of years of prosecutorial experience to the job of figuring out what the evidence was, what the crimes were, who committed them, and then bringing those cases in court to prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. And again, I've been able to hopefully reestablish that morale, that esprit de corps in my own operation, so that these prosecutors who number over 800 across this county go ahead and do that justice for each one of you every single day. But the second group I had to reestablish trust with between the DA's office was law enforcement. Because in the prior administration, law enforcement quite correctly got the idea that the DA was more interested in prosecuting law enforcement officers than partnering with them. And what I said is, look, I come from a prosecutorial background. I was a federal prosecutor for a number of years. I actually ran the tax division in the U.S. Department of Justice back in Washington, D.C. But I was also a defense attorney. I've been in the criminal justice system 35 years. So my message to law enforcement was, you do your job, and now we'll do our job. And one of the examples of that is that because of my predecessor's prior policies, there was a backlog of cases that kept growing and growing over 4 years. Generally, the DA's office, we do 180,000 criminal cases across this county every year. So generally, you expect 500 to 1,000 cases to be in the pipeline at any one moment in time. What happened, though, under my predecessor is that backlog had grown to 14,000 cases. That is 14 or more thousand victims that are waiting to see whether or not there will be justice for the crimes that they had suffered. That's 14,000 or more law enforcement officers who worked up the case, presented it to the DA's office, and were waiting for a resolution. That's even 14,000 more suspects who were waiting to see if justice was going to land on their door. So I asked my prosecutors, I said, we need to make a statement to the public and the law enforcement that we're going to work that much harder to not only do our cases, but attack the backlog. And I'm happy to tell you that after 10 months, 14,000 cases is down to under 4,500 cases. The third group that we had to go out to, and this is actually a tragedy that we even have to say this, are victims. Because for 4 years, victims felt alienated from the DA's office, which is a true tragedy because the only champion for victims in the system is the DA's office. A defendant has their own attorney, there's a judge, there's a jury, but who represents the victims in court? Well, for decades, it was the DA's office. But my predecessor on his first day, first hour, said, for instance, that prosecutors who used to go with victim families that had suffered the murder of a son or a daughter, and now were facing the murderer at a parole hearing where the murderer had a lawyer. There's a parole board. The murderer is trying to get out of prison early. There's a victim family, and for decades there was always a prosecutor, but not under my predecessor. He took the prosecutor away. On my first hour in office, I brought the prosecutors back with the victim families. And the whole idea is, again, that the prosecutors could be the voice for the victims because often they have no voice in the system. So we've taken this idea of this hard middle approach that rejects the extremes and says, we'll do our job, law enforcement, you do your job. And I must tell you that in meeting with law enforcement officers across this incredible county, I mean, we have, you figure, roughly 9,000 sworn officers in the Sheriff's Department, at 8,700 sworn officers for LAPD, and if you add up the 45 local police agencies, maybe another 2,000 sworn officers. So a grand total of 20 or 21,000 sworn officers for the entire county. Now, to give you a point of comparison, New York City, which is a fraction of our size, has 36,000 sworn officers. So these officers, these deputies that you see in front of you and that you've met over time, they're doing more with less. There should be a lot more of them on the streets. They should, the city councils, the county board of supervisors should come up with the funds so that they can hire these additional officers and deputies. But in the meantime, we're asking them to do a very difficult and dangerous job. And I must tell you, as the district attorney, they have my respect, my admiration, and my partnership. Now, on my first day in office, I basically identified 6 priority areas. And that doesn't mean that every other type of crime is not a priority area. It is. But when I was traveling around during my campaign, and actually one of the stops was in this room, and I was listening to what people were concerned about, it fell into one or more of these 6 areas. And let me identify those areas: organized retail theft, residential burglaries, hate crimes, human trafficking, homeless crime, and fentanyl poisoning. One or all of these 6 have been suffered by many, many people in this community and communities throughout this county. So I prioritize this area. I either form task forces or we join task forces. And I'll give you an example of an idea that came through one of the task forces to go after organized retail theft. Because one of the things we wanted to discuss tonight was the tools that we have now to go after organized retail theft. One of the tools is Proposition 36. That passed on the same ballot that I got elected back in November of 2024. And the idea behind Proposition 36 is that it was going to go after the repeat and chronic thieves and illegal hard drug users to go ahead and deal with them in a way that created real consequences. You know, they say, and it's absolutely true, that 10 to 15% of the criminals are committing over 50% of the crimes. And those are often the people who are repeat offenders. So Proposition 36, the idea behind it is that if you have 2 or more convictions for theft, and that did not dissuade you from doing the next theft, and you go ahead and do it, now instead of it being treated as a misdemeanor, the lowest level of crime, it's going to be a felony. And since January of 2025, working with law enforcement, my office has brought over 2,000 Proposition 36 felony theft charges going after these chronic and repeat offenders. We've actually, the other part of Proposition 36 was to go after the illegal hard drug users. This is meth, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, ecstasy. Not marijuana, by the way. And again, if you have 2 or more convictions
for using these type of illegal hard drugs and you continue, which probably means you have some level of an addiction, we can now go after you for a felony that gives the court to order treatment. So you now have to go into a treatment facility. And again, that is in some ways a very common sense notion, because what's the alternative? The alternative in a day and age where we have fentanyl in the drug supply, a drug that can kill you with 2 milligrams, can kill you in 2 minutes, is 50 times stronger than heroin, 100 times stronger than morphine. It's the leading killer of 18 to 40-year-olds in our community. And with drugs like that out there in the system, it is the only humane thing we can do for basically illegal hard drug users to try and at least use the criminal system to get them into a treatment program. So that's the Proposition 30, and we've prosecuted over 1,200 of those cases. So not only do we have the tool of Proposition 36, but in one of these meetings, I heard a great idea. And the idea was, Mr. Hockman, is there any way to provide a warning to the would-be criminals, and now I'll focus back on theft, people who are coming into stores, that you're actually going to prosecute them? And so we kicked it around, and we tried to figure out, and I talked to the Sacramento DA, and he came up with a great idea. He says, you know what? We're going to issue a window sticker that people can actually put, businesses can put on their doors when they come through the door. It's a 6 by 6 inch sticker, and it basically says, and I'll give you the large version, warning. This is a protected business. Now here's the great secret. Every business is a protected business. Every home is a protected home. Every car is a protected car. But these are the ones that are advertising it. So warning, this is a protected business. Retail theft will be prosecuted by the Retail Theft Task Force. Very simple. Well, what we decided to do with this low-tech idea, so it's not the high-tech social media or anything like that. This is kind of low-tech. Put these stickers up in a lot of businesses. I'm here to tell you, we've given out over 13,000 of these stickers across the county. We have some. If you have a business and you would like to get a sticker tonight, in the back you will find more of these stickers that will be available. Please pick them up. They're free. Our sort of gift from the district attorney's office to every small business owner out there to increase deterrence in our community. Because people ultimately ask me, is your goal to fill the prisons to the breaking point? I say no. If anything, that's the failure of the criminal justice system. My goal is to see if we can deter criminals from committing the crimes in the first place, thus saving a whole lot of victims in the process. So how do you deter criminals? Two proven ways. One, sort of law enforcement's job, one the DA's job. For law enforcement, they have to create a reasonable degree of certainty that if you commit the crime, whether it takes days, weeks, or months, you're going to get arrested and brought to justice for it. That's law enforcement's job. But once they bring it to the DA's office, now the DA's job is the second part of the equation. That I must create meaningful consequences for the people who break our laws. And again, that doesn't mean if you steal $600, I'm going to put you in prison for 10 years. That's a disproportional consequence. It's not what we're talking about for meaningful. Meaningful, though, means that there won't be a slap on the wrist where we pretend you didn't even commit the crime at all. You'll be brought in the system, and we will find the proportional punishment for the crime that you have committed. That is the hard middle approach that I brought to prosecuting these cases. So I must tell you, even though we have 6 priority areas, we've dealt with retail theft and whatnot, I had no idea on January 7th I'd have to add another priority area, wildfire crimes. But I'm here to tell you that the Sheriff's Department, LAPD, really went well beyond the call of duty, putting their own lives at risk as they were saving people in the Eaton Fire area, the Palisades area. And the stories that I heard and saw and then met the people made me so proud that I live in this county and are protected by such great guardians. I don't even call them law enforcement officers or deputies anymore. I call them guardians, because that's what they're doing. They're guarding our safety on a daily basis. I'll give them a little applause right now for doing it. But I also had the experience of finding another category of crime that I didn't expect, protest-related crime. And what I had to do is make a very clear demarcation on what was legal and what was illegal. So what I said to all the hundreds of thousands of people who lawfully protested in our community, did it peacefully, did it lawfully, that myself and the DA's office, law enforcement, will fiercely protect their right to lawfully and peacefully protest. However, when you want to go from protected First Amendment speech into illegal conduct, if you want to shoot a commercial-grade firework at a police officer, if you want to go ahead and run your motorcycle into a police line, if you want to drop bricks or cinder blocks on police cars and light them on fire, I made it crystal clear. You will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and you will be punished. And I did that because I didn't want anyone to later come back and say, well, the last 4 years, none of that really happened. So why are you doing it now? No, no, no. I wanted to give them this warning. Just like I gave them the warning for the retail theft, I gave them the warning for these protest-related crimes or wildfire-related crimes. And I said, look, you want to test us, you can do it, but let me make it crystal clear what the consequences are going to be. So you have no mistaken notion that it's a slap on the wrist and nothing's going to happen to you in time. So I will tell you that doing this job every day has been absolutely a job of a lifetime, opportunity of a lifetime. I get to serve this community, a community that I've spent my entire life in, that I've raised my 3 kids, that I've been married, getting close to 33 years now, and even just had a grandson. And so, thank you. He's coming up on 1 year. And so, but again, I decided in running for this office and then doing this office that I wasn't going to leave this community. I wasn't going to let the criminals drive me out of this community. I was going to see what I could do to try and make a difference. And what I've learned in doing that is the only way that I'm going to succeed, the only way that these folks are going to succeed is if we work with you. You are often our eyes and ears in the community. You have to alert us as to what's going on so we can act on it. Earlier today, someone said, do you like that idea of see something, say something? I said, not only do I like it, but I'm going to add a third saying to it. See something, say something so we can do something. And that's the message. So I will leave, if we have, I think, other speakers that'll speak, but I'm happy to answer any of your questions on any topic. I'll even answer a Menendez question if you so desire.
I would, but I probably would take up the whole night. But we will do the Q&A after we have our presentation from our law enforcement partners. And so with that, I would like to introduce the Walnut and industry sheriffs with your presentation. I don't know who will go first. Deputy Denver? Sure, and
unfortunately, I fall to the media.
the game show will begin now.
Everybody need me to have a microphone. Yes?
Anyway, okay. So my name is Deputy Louis Denver with the Walnut Diamond Bar Sheriff Station. I'm the community relations deputy that's assigned to the Roland Heights area. I'm here with my partners from Industry Sheriff Station. I'm also here with my partners from Diamond Bar and Walnut as well. So we're going to do a little discussion about what's going on in the community, kind of a who, what, where, when, why, that these crimes are affecting the community that you guys live in. So, next slide. Claudia, can you come down here and, or, you have a clicker? Or, wow, I'm not used to this kind of professional stuff. Okay, so why are we here? Safety starts with you, the residents. It's important that you be able to know what the issues are, know what you're seeing, and being able to report that stuff to the sheriff's station. Okay, so when we talk about the most common crimes in Walnut, Diamond Bar, Industry Station, and the surrounding areas, what I mean by that, we have a representative from Yorba Linda, probably the same issues that Yorba Linda, Chino Hills, Glendora, San Dimas are experiencing the same as us. Number one thing is vehicle burglary. That's somebody breaking into your vehicle and stealing property that's inside. And we're going to talk about how that's one of the most preventable crimes that we deal with. A lot of the times folks don't realize when they leave stuff in their car, it's enticing other people to break inside to take it. Next, residential burglary. Somebody breaking into your home, breaking into your storage unit, breaking into something and stealing the property from inside. Third, theft from retail. We were talking about that. People going into commercial buildings, stores, stealing the property from inside those stores and walking out. One of the reasons I still think that we have the issue we do with that is because there was a long period of time where there was really nothing being done about that. And so we still get that. People are apprehended and they're sitting there going, "You're going to take me to jail?" And it's like, "Yes, we're taking you to jail." There's a new sheriff, well, I'm not saying new sheriff in town, there is, but there's a new DA in town, right? We're not going to mention Gusco's name. Oh. Anyway, so vehicle theft. So I don't know why there's 2 threes, but vehicle theft is our fourth one. Somebody going and taking your vehicle and stealing your car. Number 4, vandalism. Those are the folks I know, Rolling Heights. My former Rolling Heights folks are here. Some of the local little street gangs and stuff like that will spray stuff on the walls, and it's really important that you guys relay that information, let us know, and call the graffiti hotlines, because the failure to remove the graffiti leads to potential violence. A lot of times, the young gang members that spray stuff on a wall, all it takes is another rival gang member from another area to go over and cross that out, and it's kind of a declaration of war. So, and our numbers are all crazy. Okay, and the last one is commercial burglary. So the commercial burglary is breaking into the buildings and stuff like that. So we had a little rash of that in Rolling Heights recently, but it's one of the things that we are working on. Okay, so what is burglary? So burglary is the unlawful entry of a structure to commit a felony or a theft, and it's one of our most prevalent crimes. We talked about that. Vehicle burglaries, residential burglaries, commercial burglaries. And it's one of those ones that can be effectively resisted by positive action by the community, meaning you're seeing something or the possibility of something about to happen and being able to report that in a timely manner. So when we talk about why your community, why your neighborhood, number 1, it's an affluent community. You live in Diamond Bar, Walnut, Rolling Heights, Yorba Linda, Brea, Chino Hills, any of those communities, they're affluent communities. The criminals are not as ignorant as they used to be. They know we're going to go to areas where people have money, they have nice possessions, they have property that we can go in and we can take. And this is why these communities get targeted. Number 2, there's a belief that the community is untrusting of banks, and a lot of people keep money and valuables inside of their property. So just a quick story. We have a gated community in Rolling Heights. In the gated community in Rolling Heights, a lot of folks live in there, and what was happening is we had a rash of burglaries that were happening inside of this community. So eventually one day, the guy goes to commit a burglary, deputies respond on the scene, he's able to get out over one of the fences, and he leaves his vehicle, right? But he's able to get away. He calls his girlfriend picks him up. The next day, he comes back to get his car. Deputies go over there, catch the guy, an arrest is made. We write a search warrant, we go back to the guy's house, he's a resident of West Covina. When we go inside the house, we recover $200,000 in cash and $300,000 in jewelry. Almost all of that property was taken from that gated community. So when we talk about people don't trust banks, people don't, we had one of the houses, so we had a driver's license. We said, okay, this is his driver's license, but there was no reported crime to that particular resident or that name. So we went and did a door knock. And so we did the door knock, and the guy answers the door, and we're like, hey, are you missing a driver's license? And he goes, yeah, I am missing a driver's license. And I said, hey, well, we recovered that, so it was in the possession of somebody that probably shouldn't have had it. He goes, I'm wondering where that was. And I go, you happen to be missing anything else in your house? He goes, yeah, I have like $40,000 that's missing. And I go, you didn't report that? He goes, no, I didn't report that. I'm like, must be nice. So, number 4, prior success in the community. That's the example there. They come to the community, they're able to find property left in cars, they're able to get expensive property inside of people's houses, and when they get away with it, they're going to come back and they're going to do it again. So a lot of the things that we have to do is figure out how to make it, as a community, how to make ourselves less desirable of a target. Lock stuff away, don't keep things in plain sight. How do we secure our homes better? And we'll talk about a little bit of that stuff. And then the last one, burglary has become easier, profitable, and safer to commit. Back in the day, gangs from South Los Angeles and around the communities, drug dealing was a big thing. That was a way to make money. I have drugs, I sell the drugs, and I make money. But that's a dangerous job because somebody might come up to you and rob you for your drugs or your money. So then all of a sudden, we started to see this flocking. And when I was in the industry station, that's when I was starting to see this trend start to happen, where people were going in, breaking into houses when people weren't there, and taking a lot of property. And it was these carloads of young men that were going and doing it at that time. And I was seeing that was the new trend. Well, you go, you leave, we break into your house, we can steal $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 worth of your stuff, and if we get caught, it's a property crime, right? It's not the same. And if the resident's not there, it's not as dangerous. So we saw this kind of change in the idea of, hey, we'll call this term flocking, and it became, or what we call the knock-knock burglars. We see rap songs sing about it. It's something that they turned around and said, okay, this is the new way that we're going to make our money. So how do burglaries happen? So they surveil the neighborhoods, what they're normally doing, and there's a variety of ways. They'll sit in the neighborhood, they'll drive around, and as they're driving around, they'll see a car backing up. Let's say it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Maybe there's a male or a female driving, and there's a couple young kids, and they're driving away. They're going to think, well, maybe this person's going to school. How far is the school from this? They know, well, there's a good chance we got 10 minutes, 15 minutes to be able to break into this house, steal everything we can steal, and run out. And we get that call a lot of the times. I just left to drop off the kids for school. Hey, we just went to church, and when we came back, our house was broken into. We just went out to dinner, and when we went out to dinner, by the time we got back, the house was broken into, and they stole a bunch of our stuff. People that are driving around, surveilling your neighborhood, they're looking around, and they're waiting for you to leave. So it's very important for you, when you're leaving your neighborhood, to pay attention to what's around you. Look and see if there's people sitting in the car. Who are they? Are they watching your house? Are they watching your neighbor's house? That's why it's really important when we talk about neighborhood watches and stuff. You get to know your neighbors. You get to know what cars belong in your neighborhood. And if you see something that doesn't look right, we want to report it. So they knock on the doors. Nobody answers the door. They walk around to the back of your house, and then they break the sliding door, break a window to get access. They first started by kicking in the front door, going in the house, and they were burglarizing your home. Well, neighbors driving by, us driving by can look and see, hey, there's a busted front door open. We would do something about it. So they realized, hey, let's go around the back. Nobody's going to see anything out of the ordinary when they drive by that house. So this is the reason why they walk around the back. So it can happen during the daytime, it can happen during the evening time, as we start approaching the winter months. And now all of a sudden you get Christmas. What's there? You have Christmas presents that are going to be around the trees. It's going to start getting dark around 5 o'clock. Well, I'm going to drive by your house at 5 o'clock, and there's no lights on inside. I'm going to assume that probably nobody's home from work yet. Maybe people aren't back yet from the kids playing in sports or whatever, and that's going to give you the opportunity to go into your house. So we need to talk about ways to mitigate that. Leaving lights on, leaving radios on, putting things around your house to give the impression that maybe somebody is home. And the rental cars. So back in the day, they would drive around their rickety old car. We'd see some guys in the neighborhood doing their job as police officer. We'd sit there and follow people and run the plates, and all of a sudden we're like, hey, we got issues with the vehicle. We can stop the car and find out who these people are driving around through the neighborhood. Well, now they're going to rental car companies. They're buying nice cars. So they're driving Lexuses, they're driving Audis, they're driving BMWs. And one of the first things they do is they go to the rental car company, they rent the car, they take it over to a window tinting shop, they tint the windows dark, so you really can't see what's inside. They take a paper plate. Usually what they do is, now that we have the new paper plates that actually has a number on it, they steal a plate off of somebody else's car, take some duct tape, and they tape it to their vehicle. So now it looks like a brand new car driving around the neighborhood, and nobody thinks any of the wiser, because wherever you might live, you say, okay, that's a Mercedes driving by. That's not something I need to be concerned about. Well, maybe you do. Right? So these are the things that we want to start looking and paying attention to. It's not just going to be the rickety car. They're looking like the folks that belong in the neighborhoods that they're targeting. They work in crews. There's usually several of them that work together. There's usually a driver. There's usually 2 or 3 other people that are in that vehicle. Usually one person walks to the door, person knocks on the door, decides if anybody's home or not home, make another call, and then the car pulls up, the other guys get out, they go around the back, and then they commit the crime that we were talking about. So when we look at this picture right here, so this is one of my streets over in Rowland Heights, and when we start talking about what are the things that we want to see that look out of the ordinary and that we want to report. So now we have this young lady that parks this car here. We have this kind of burgundy color Hyundai. Now what's interesting when you look at that is when you see where she's walking, she parked this car and she walked like 6 houses down. That should be a clue that, well, that doesn't seem right, right? When you go to visit somebody, you park directly in front of their house and you go to visit them. You're not going to park down the street and walk 6 houses away. Also, look where the car's parked. You see the driveway where she's in front of, and then there's another driveway that's just another probably 100 feet in front of her vehicle. So now she's parked her car in between 2 houses. That's criminal behavior. That's the stuff that we're looking at, right? We're looking at oddities. She goes to the door, knocks on the door, nobody answers the door. She gets on the phone, she makes the phone call. 2 young guys come out wearing hoodies, and they go to the house. Now this happened just before COVID. COVID was another anomaly, right? Everybody in the world was walking around with masks. Back in the 2 weeks before COVID, people walking around with masks, what would you do? Everybody's calling the police because, oh my God, what's going on here? There's not that many doctors, right? So you're turning around and you're saying, okay, now everybody's wearing masks, everybody's got face coverings on, but here it is, this was a crime that occurred in September. You can see it, September 4th. September 4th at 7:45 in the evening. It's pretty hot out here, right? Probably somebody's not going to be wearing a hoodie, covering their face, and all bundled up like that. They're trying to be anonymous. They're trying to protect their identity. So we talk about nighttime burglaries. So nighttime burglaries, they go in your house, and they go to steal stuff inside of your home. They wear the headlights. If you go to Costco, you get the little headlights you can put on your forehead, and that's what they use to walk around the house. So they're not switching on lights that everybody can see. The one here on the bottom, you can see that nice little fluffy protective dog. 2 guys have broken into the house right there, and what they're doing is they're crawling on the floor. Why? Because they've set their alarm system so that the dog doesn't trip the alarm. So these guys are smart enough to know, we stay low to the floor, we're not going to trip off the alarm, and we can burglarize the house. So the areas in your home that the burglars are looking: nightstands, dresser drawers, top shelf of the closet, jewelry boxes, under beds, file cabinets. So one of the ones here, the top shelf of the closet. So I don't know how many times I've gone to a burglary and they go, yeah, they stole some of my wife's jewelry, they stole some money from the drawer, they stole my firearm. And I go, was your firearm in the top shelf of your closet? Like, well, how did you know that? I said, because that's where everybody keeps their gun. For whatever reason, people think that, hey, if I put 2 towels on the top shelf of my closet, and I can stick my gun in between, nobody's going to know it's there. It's out of the kids' reach. That's what they're thinking. And then we're going to be okay. Well, every criminal, it's one of the first places they go because they know that's where people are storing their stuff. So don't do that. Keep it safe. So, deterrence prevention. So, some people have no trespassing signs. You don't necessarily need to have a no trespassing sign on your home, right? You lock your gates to the side of your house and somebody jumps over that gate. That's implied that you did not want them back there. So there's been kind of a misconception. I've seen this around where people are saying, hey, I heard this at a Rancho Sheriff's where somebody was saying, hey, there was a deputy at Rancho Sheriff's that had said that you need to put a no trespassing sign around your house. I go, that sounds absurd. But like I said, that bad information, we've got to dispel that. You don't need to have that. Lock up your house, lock up your car. It's implied that you don't want somebody in there. Clear your landscaping. You put cameras, Ring camera. Ring camera's great. We use a ring camera a lot of the times to help us solve some of these crimes. But do understand, the ring camera records the criminal act. It doesn't prevent the act from happening. Some people will turn around there and say, well, I just don't want to run the risk of being seen doing it, so that might deter them. But the fact of the matter is you got to do other things as well. You need to do more than just the ring camera in and of itself being the way to stop anything happening to your house. Efficient lighting is really important. Light around your house. I had a property in Chino Hills, and when I lived over there, I had a big quarter acre. And on the back part, I didn't have electricity to it. You can go to Costco and you can buy those solar lights. And so if somebody comes over there and breaks the beam of that solar light, the solar light flicks on. Illumination. They don't want to be seen. Solid core doors and proper deadbolts. So obviously, the more secure your door is, the better off you are. But like I said, when they go to your house and they break into your home, what are they doing? They're smashing a window, smashing a sliding glass door. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to prevent that thing. But I don't know how many times people just walk and open the latch because people don't secure the side gates to their house. So first and foremost, if you have a side gate, put a padlock on it and lock it secured. like I said, we were talking about cameras. So if you're going to get a camera, go get a good camera. The camera systems that are out there right now are phenomenal. Some of these ones that we've seen, you can turn around there and you could blow it up, and you can get the numbers and letters and things on clothing and stuff like that that are good to help us identify things. Okay, so ATM bank withdrawal and awareness. So one of the things that we deal with now, and we start to see this happening, we've had a lot of follow home robberies. People go to the ATMs, people go to the bank, they withdraw large sums of money, and then what they do is they take that money and they do one of two things. We had a guy that called us up and said, hey, somebody broke into my car and stole $8,000. Where was $8,000? It was in the glove compartment. Okay, where'd you come from? Well, I was at the Hamney Bank. I took $8,000 out. I went, put it in my glove compartment, and then I went and shot golf balls over off the golf range off of Dicetta. And I said, why the hell? Do you have a golf bag? And they go, yeah. And you didn't think to put the $8,000 in the golf bag? No. So I thought, this is some setup, right? Maybe this is an insurance scam. This is something like that. Nope. He had the receipt, took the money out over at the Hamney Bank, and it's just like, okay, we need help to help the folks as well. You know, that's obviously one of those things. If you're going to take out that large sum of money and everything too, take it with you. Bring it with you. Don't go to the driving range. Don't go to the restaurant. My partner was driving by and she saw a lady walk out of the bank and she had a Ziploc bag. And in that Ziploc bag, you can see 20s, stacks of $20 bills as she wandered through the parking lot. My partner pulled up alongside of her and just kind of drove next to her with that kind of look on their face, kind of like, what are you doing? And she didn't realize my partner was there. So fortunately, my partner flagged her, hey, can you put that away? Oh, okay. We really need folks to kind of help us out. We need to be a little bit more aware because there are folks that are sitting there when you go to the bank that are watching. They're going and watching. And don't be surprised if there's somebody in the bank that's with you or behind you that's just doing a minor transaction to go, hey, this guy that's walking out just took a lot of money out. And now that car is going to be following you to your home. So pay attention to your surroundings. All right. So theft from vehicles, don't leave any items of value where people can see it. One of the issues that we have, especially with the 24-hour fitness, the LA fitnesses and gyms and stuff like that, what happens is people get there in the morning, usually to work out right before they go to work, and what do? They go, they pop open the trunk of their car, they take the briefcase, their purse or whatever, close it in the back of the trunk, and they shut it. And then they go into work out. And here comes bad guy, he breaks the window, he pops the latch, he goes inside there, he takes the purse or the stuff, and he drives away. We see this on surveillance cameras, so we know this is how this stuff happens. So I always tell everybody, if you're going to LA Fitness to go work out, or you're going to 24-hour fitness, or wherever you're going, put your stuff in your trunk to start. So when you get there and you get out of your car, you get out and you walk directly in. Whoever's sitting in that parking lot watching what's happening doesn't know if there's anything of value in your car or in the trunk. So you might just prevent your car from being the one getting broken into. Okay, landscaping. So we talk about landscaping. So you look at the picture that's up on the top there, not any places anybody could really hide. If they wanted to go to your house, knock on the door for a period of time, break a window or anything like that. And then you can kind of see, as you start going down, there's a lot more vegetation, a lot more of that front door is the only thing showing on the top. The guy on the bottom, God knows what he's doing, but it's landscaping. Keep it to where people can see your property, see your windows, and don't give people places to hide. And stuff like that, put a deadbolt in, use a longer screw. How many people, when they get that new lock on their door and they change out the doorknob and the little bolt plate, it's a little tiny screw. It's like not even an inch. It's easy for us to trust us. For those who have kicked doors open, we have authorization when we do it. But when we do that, we love those kind of doors. Nothing worse than a solid core oak door with 3-inch screws in it. We have to have a whole battering ram and some stuff like that. So, garage control doors. So you can see right here, what I do when I leave, that's the picture. When I go on vacation, one of the things I do is like to make sure that nobody has access to be able to get into my garage door. I just run a padlock through the roller so you can't roll it up. It's a pretty simple measure. I think that's too long of a video. We're just going to pass that up. All right. So, prevention. So when we talk about prevention, it's like firearms. If you have a firearm, keep a firearm locked up in a safe. And If it's a small safe and it's easy to pick up, it's easy for a crook to run out with it too. I handled a case where somebody had reported that their safe was stolen, and I asked them what kind of safe they had. And they said I had a 30 rifle safe. 30 rifle safe is probably about 800 pounds. It's the size of like a refrigerator. But two guys in a furniture dolly was able to get that, put it in the bed of a truck, and drive off. So if it's not bolted down, it's not going to be safe. Keep money and valuables in a location out of the ordinary, somewhere that you know that the burglar wouldn't think of looking. We get people all the time, hey, we keep money at home, we just like to have cash available, so if we need to spend it. And what do? They keep money in an envelope that says East West Bank, or Bank of America, or Wells Fargo in their drawer, so when the crook comes in, they're like, oh, cool, thanks. They know exactly what to grab. So I always tell everybody, too, back in the day, I don't know if anybody remembers for the younger folks, but back in the day, parents used to have a coffee can, and in the coffee can, they used to put money in the coffee can, right? That was a place that they could hide extra cash. I always tell everybody, if you have money, keep it in an oatmeal container. Criminals don't eat healthy. They're never going to go in an oatmeal container. So, passports, bank statements, credit cards, things like that, keep it in a secured place, locked away. Safe deposit boxes are great. Safes that are secured to the ground, those are great too. But just remember, if it's something that's easy to get a hold of, a file cabinet is not hard to break into, right? So they'll take that stuff. Keep your stuff that is really important someplace that's more secure. So, another one, keep your doors locked even when you're home. We've had this happen a handful of times. People are working and they're doing chores in the backyard, they're gardening, or whatever, but they're thinking, I'm home, nobody's going to bother me because I'm home. We've had ring cameras from across the street catch it. They open the door, they walk inside, and what's real close to the front door of a lot of people's houses? Usually a table, set of car keys, maybe a purse, somebody's wallet, things like that. They'll walk inside, grab that stuff, and they'll take off. They don't even have to go through the house. You left them stuff right at the front door. So lock your doors even if you're in the house doing stuff. Don't put your empty boxes and new purchases outside. So after Christmas, what happens? Everybody goes to throw all the boxes away from the stuff they bought, and I've seen it numerous times. Cruising through the neighborhoods, and I'll look and go like, wow, a 75-inch television, and a 40-inch screen for the computer, and an iPad. I'm like, wow, somebody's got $5,000 worth of electronics in their house now. So you just tip me off for that. So be a little bit more discreet on that. And then don't let people know that you're going to be out of town on social media. We get this all the time. Hey, we're in Hawaii, right? That's great. So you have Facebook, and there's your friend or your cousin, but you don't know who all your cousin's friends are, right? So now that one shady friend that's a friend of your cousin now knows, hey, where do your cousins live? That's a beautiful house. And now all of a sudden, they know for the next 2 weeks. I had that happen in my neighborhood where somebody broke into one of my neighbor's house and they actually lived in the house for 2 days. And while they were in there, they parked their car in the garage, they stole stuff and loaded up the car, drove away, came back, closed the garage, unloaded the house again, and then did it twice while they stayed there. So, leave lights on when you're out during the evening. It's just another way to try to preventative measure. So some people have that little thing that as soon as it turns 5 o'clock, light clicks on the house, gives the impression that somebody's inside. Radios, sometimes you're going to go out and take off, put a little radio on. If I go to your door and I go to knock on it, and I hear a radio upstairs, I'm not sure if somebody's home. So maybe I'm not going to go and take the attempt to try to break into a house. Because remember, when we talk about the difference between property crimes and crimes of person, if I break into your house, you're not home, and I steal $25,000 worth of your property, right? It's a property crime. It is a felony because it's a burglary. If I break into your house, you're home, and now all of a sudden, well, you know what, I'm here. Give me your money. And you're like, well, I only got 20 bucks, right? You have me 20 bucks? That's a home invasion robbery. Totally different. The amount of time in sentencing is completely different between a home invasion and a burglary. So they don't want to go into your house when you're there. It does happen, but not very often. No. So alarms. Alarms are good. Alarms are great deterrents and everything too, but just like anything else, a lot of these folks know. I break into the house, the alarm goes off. I'm running through your house looking for stuff to steal. What's the first thing that's going to happen? The alarm company's going to call the homeowner to say, was this an accidental activation? So when they go to call the homeowner, they used to call a landline. So the crooks used to know when that phone started ringing that it was the alarm company that was calling to check on it. So they would keep stealing and keep stealing and keep stealing. And when the phone stopped ringing, they realized the alarm company is now probably notifying the law enforcement agency for that area. Now you probably get something on your phone. And a lot of the folks now, we get it, hey, I'm watching my cameras inside my house right now, and I see the guys inside my house. And so we're getting those calls. And make sure you let us know when you call on your phone, give us the address when you're telling us where that location's happening. Okay, so we talk about inventories. Inventories is just stuff that you have that you want to make a list of all your properties. So I have a list on my computer with serial numbers, makes, models, prices, and stuff like that. In the event that I lose it in a fire or in the event that it gets stolen, I can report that. You have a better chance of getting your property back if it's a serialized property if you can tell us the serial number, because then we can enter it into a system, and that system goes nationwide. Somebody comes up with that laptop over in Santa Ana when they stop a car and they arrest somebody for a possible stolen property. When that number gets entered in there, it's going to show that it's a stolen property. So vehicle burglaries. Let me see if this video plays. So right here, how easy is it to break inside of a window, right? Right there, that's just a window punch. He walks up, it's a little window punch, he pushes it against the window, and it shatters the window just like that. They get inside, break the window out, and grab your stuff. So it's not them just taking a brick or something like that, because some of those windows are pretty strong. It's not that easy to break. But a little window punch like that, or even a little piece of porcelain, a little tiny piece of porcelain, you throw it against the window, it shatters the window. Don't write that down for any illicit reasons, but it's good for you to know. That's all they need to have is a little piece like that. And it's hard for us if we turn around and we contact somebody and they got a little piece of porcelain. What's that for, right? So vehicle burglaries, like we were talking about, vehicle burglaries, everything that is of value, don't put it anywhere that anybody can see it as they walk by and look inside your windows. Okay, we talked about when these crimes are occurring. Residential burglaries can happen during the day, they can happen at night. It's usually dependent upon when folks are home. Okay, when you're parking on the street or the driveway, don't leave anything of value inside of your car. And hide even the cords. So sometimes people will take a cord, because I know I've seen people do it. I've even done it. Your phone's charged. You stick your phone in the center console so that way you can cover it, and then you go about doing your business. Well, you just left your $500 or $600, $800 phone, right? So hide your cords and everything too. This is somebody coming and stealing your vehicle. So here's a list of, from 2024, the most stolen vehicles that are out there. Hyundai, we had a lot of issues with Kias and Hyundais because there was an error in the ignition system that all you had to do was break the column, and you could start it with just like a USB drive. You just stick it in and you can turn it and you can start the vehicle. So there was a recall on that, and so they had done a lot of changes, but there was even some insurance companies that didn't even want to insure Hyundais and Kias. So if you have one of those vehicles, I would call the dealer and find out, hey, has there been a recall on mine, because you want to get that fixed. Because like I said, these are highly stolen vehicles. So neighborhood watches. So we'll go through this really quick. When you get to start a neighborhood watch, one of the things you want to do is you want to get all your neighbors together, find out who lives where, how many people live there, what kind of cars they drive, and then there's things that you want to be looking for in the community, right? So these are obvious things, right? People screaming, shouting for help, people looking in windows of parked cars, unusual noises, glass breaking, property being taken out of houses, vehicles moving slowly with no apparent destination. Anyone being forced in a vehicle, that's a pretty obvious one, right? Strangers sitting in a car stopping to talk to a child. So it's not more than just burglaries, it's just criminal activity. And then also, anyone walking around the neighborhood that looks unusual. So now it's kind of like, you're like, well, what does that mean? There's a lot of unusual people, right? But let's just say you have a couple young, teenage-looking guys, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're walking in your neighborhood, but there's no high school or anything around. That might be something you want to pay attention to, right? Because who are these guys? Why are they there? Why aren't they in school? Little things like that. We want to change our behavior and our thought process to be like, okay, now I'm not going to sit there and just go like, well, that's not my problem. Or, hey, they've already walked past my house, I'm not worried about it. We want to get to that point of starting to say, okay, well, they're in my community, and we already talked about this, right? They steal from your neighbor, and your neighbor loses a lot of property. What's going to happen? They're going to come back, and they're going to come back into your neighborhood. So we want to get them out of it. Feel like people carrying backpacks, things like that. Observe only, be a perfect witness. Call, let us know. Give us the information that's like, well, what makes this unusual? well, this person looks unusual because of this, and this. Okay, we can work with that. Just telling us that you have a guy walking down the street that looks out of the ordinary, and you won't give us any other details than that. Okay, it gets on our list of calls that we respond to, but it doesn't get to the priority, it doesn't meet priority level. So when you report, give us your name, give us your address, give us a brief description of what happened. Hey, some guy walked up to my neighbor's house, he started knocking on the door, he was standing there for about a minute, came out again, got on the phone, turned around, walked to the backyard, opened the latch, went to the backyard, a car pulled up, 3 other guys got out, and they all walked into the backyard of my neighbor's house, right? That's a burglary in progress, right? There's no doubt of what that is. That's a burglary in progress. Give a description of what they look like. Help us out with, hey, they're all wearing dark clothing, but hey, one guy had tattoos on his arms. One guy had a ponytail. I could see tattoos. They had, I don't want to say Raiders jersey or a particular. I'm a Denver fan, so I can talk about the Raiders and Chargers, right? But it's one of those ones, this is what they're wearing. Give us some details of information that we can use to identify them when we show up. And then lastly, vehicle. Tell us the vehicle. Give us what you can as a vehicle description that we can work with. So if you tell us it's a black Toyota Camry, well, there's a lot of those driving around. But it's a black Toyota Camry with traffic collision damage, where it has a little donut tire in the back. That helps us identify that vehicle as we're driving up to your neighborhood to go look for this car. So language concerns. We get this, hey, you know what? I didn't want to call the sheriff's department because when they start asking me questions, I'm not familiar or comfortable enough with the language to be able to explain it. So we tell folks, call us up, tell us emergency, Mandarin speaker, emergency, Arabic speaker, emergency, Spanish speaker. We'll get a language line on the phone so that we can talk in this 3-way call. And then that way you can tell us in your comfortable language of what had occurred. Another thing, citizenship concerns. Some people have called and said, well, I'm not a documented citizen. I don't want to call and bring the police to my house because I'm afraid they're going to take me into custody. We don't care about the citizenship stuff. When we respond to a crime, you're a victim of a crime. That's the only thing that we are concerned with at that time. Okay? We're not going to ask you, well, are you legally here or not legally here? That question will never come up. Okay? So when to call 911 and when to call the business line? Anything that's a crime in progress. You see somebody like I was telling you, the guy knocking at the front door, looks suspicious, gets on the phone, a couple guys pull up. Okay. That's meeting that criteria close to that 911. They walk into the backyard, that's a 911 call. You hear gunfire. You see a fire, right? Things like that. That's things that are happening in emergencies that are in progress. That's what we need you to call us. 911, sorry. And then the business line. So those are the 2 business lines there for Walnut Diamond Bar Sheriff Station, and then the one for the Industry Sheriff Station. So if you're just reporting, I came home from dinner, my car window was broken off the street, they must have stole something from the back seat. Nobody's there, there's no criminal that's still in the proximity, that's just a call for service, that's a business line call. Or a disturbance, hey, my neighbor's having a party, it's 2 o'clock in the morning now, we need somebody to come out here and shut that party down. So that's when you call the business line. Okay, sheriff's response is free, because we will get that. We'll be like, how much all these police cost? Right, well, listen, it's part of your taxes that you pay, that's the services you get. So when we talk about neighborhood watches and things like that, getting a neighborhood watch started for your guys' neighborhood, you want to get a list of people so you know their phone number, when they're supposed to be home, when they go on vacations, they share with you, hey, nobody's going to be each month, and then that way you can kind of work together to kind of protect your neighborhoods. Yes. So one of the things we talk about with vacation checks, if you go on vacation, I know the Walnut Diamond Bar Sheriff Station has it set up. I believe industry, do they have vacation checks for volunteers? Okay, so what you do, you call up the sheriff's station. Hey, I'm going to be out of town for 3 weeks. So the 3 weeks I'm going to be out of town, I live at this address. These are the cars that are going to be in front of my house. My daughter's going to be there to feed the dogs at 6 p.m. every other day. And that way, our volunteers, when they come out on patrol, we have volunteers on patrol. What they do, they get in a volunteer car and they drive around to the neighborhoods and they check all the houses that have vacation checks set up. And those ones are... Once you call for however long it is, every single time they're out on the field, they'll check your house. It's just kind of another like security thing that we do for our sheriff station to kind of keep sheriff, civilian personnel, and our personnel checking around through your neighborhoods. So, if you have any questions for us or the industry sheriff station, feel free to ask. One person's already said I spoke too long. That's already done. You can't use that one anymore.
We're going to do a Q&A a little bit later. So
Q&A later.
okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you so much. Great detail, great tips. Thank you so much. And we'll save the Q&A in a little bit. But I do want to start with our DA for Q&A. You thought you were going to get away with that, but no, I'm not going to let you off too easily there. My first question for you is, many burglary groups are from foreign countries. We heard about the ESTA visas throughout the last few years. What are some of the ways you have addressed this issue?
We are working with federal, state, and local partners to address this issue. So a burglar comes across, is in essence from a different country. Often we've heard of Central and South America. They try to catch that burglar in a whole variety of ways. First, they actually, and I've spoken with the federal authorities, they're trying to catch them at the border. Certain countries have had very lax visa requirements that allow a whole lot of people in. They're trying to tighten those visa requirements so they don't get in the first place. Then when they come out here, there was a recent federal case that we worked at both Ventura County, Orange County, and LA County worked together, along with the federal authorities, the FBI, and it was actually the Postal Service, where they ended up going after the South American burglars by figuring out who they were bringing the merchandise to fence it. It turns out that none of these burglars, almost none of these burglars, when they burglar your house, they want the purse to use the purse. They want the jewelry or whatnot to wear it. No, they want to turn this into money as fast as possible. So if we can get to the fences, the people they go to, we're actually giving them the money and then taking the stuff and then trying to go ahead and sell it for a higher price. Then not only can we get often these places where we can find the money, the guns, and the merchandise, then we can back up to figure out who brought it to them. And so many different cases that have been broken against South American gangs and certainly South LA gangs have been broken that exact way. Now, often those cases can take weeks or months, and in fact, we had a recent one where the oldest burglary was 2 years old. And if you're the person who got your house burglarized 2 years ago, I'm sure you gave up and thought there's no way they're ever going to find the person. But it turns out it was the same organized crew that was going out and doing it, and they made a mistake 2 years later. Well, they rolled up that crew and found that they were responsible for 91 different home burglaries. And they got $2 million worth of the merchandise that they're now giving back to the homeowners. And these people are facing somewhere between 5 and 25 years in prison. So again, it's not, they are the more sophisticated burglars. They are the ones that check every box that you just put on the slides. They'll do the surveillance. They do the Wi-Fi jammers to try and knock out your Ring cameras. They'll go ahead and crawl. They try to enter not the first story window, but if you have a 2-story house, they'll try and enter the second story. Because most people don't alarm the second story, they only put the alarm on the first story. And when they get in, they do that crawling, especially if they've already scouted you out through social media, because often what people would put in social media is not just the mere fact that they might be in Hawaii on vacation, but they'll show pictures of them wearing their new clothes, wearing their new jewelry, showing off the stuff that they have. They got firearms, they're showing pictures on social media for firearms. Well, not only are their friends watching this, but the criminals are as well. So we are using the same technological tools to nail the criminals, but they are somewhat sophisticated on the front end in trying to steal the stuff as well.
Thank you. Actually, that's what happened to my neighbor. It was through the second floor. And my next question for you is, what is the latest information about the recent disturbing attack in Hacienda Heights?
So again, it's a situation, a tragic situation that happened. And we believe that we have caught the person who committed the murder.
And we are now making sure that we basically gather all the evidence. An arrest has occurred. I can't comment. What I say about any case that's in the courts is that we argue our cases in the courts. We argue it with legally admissible evidence. We have to prove everybody guilty of a crime beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury of 12 who rule unanimously that a crime was committed by this person. So in this situation, the person has been arrested. They will now be prosecuted by our office. We're going to look to see what type of prosecution we're going to bring, what type of charge. In addition, we'll look to see whether or not that person is responsible for any other type of either homicide or any other type of crime for that matter. That's where law enforcement comes in. They did a great job in the initial stages. They're working with us to bring this case to fruition.
Thank you so much, District Attorney. I know you're running short on time. You have another engagement. So if you like, would you like to give a little bit of your parting remarks?
So again, I thought that presentation was fantastic because and if anything, I think hopefully it's been recorded and it can be even brought to each one of you so that if you get a copy of it, send it to your family, send it to your friends. All the people who couldn't be here tonight, if they even read a few of the slides and take a few of the tips, they might prevent crime in the future, whether it's their car, their home, their business. Because again, what I've learned is that there are not enough law enforcement officers to be patrolling the streets in their cars or even walking the streets, ideally. There just aren't. So we have to leverage our ability to use your eyes and ears to help us actually do our job. And so I would tell you that the DA's office, this is what I tell law enforcement as well, is now open for business. If we get the case and we can prove that case, it doesn't matter what the case is, we're going to go ahead and prosecute that case. We'll figure out what the right punishment and consequences should be for the particular person, but we're not going to pretend they didn't commit a crime when they actually did commit a crime. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here today. Again, if anyone wants any of those stickers I talked about earlier, they'll be in the back of the room when you leave. And my big thanks to all of law enforcement that's here today. You do a great job under really difficult and dangerous situations. I think my own people, my own prosecutors are also working around the clock to bring justice to this community. And I look forward, hopefully soon. I was here in 2024, it's 2025. I'll be back in 2026. I love this room. And I look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you so much. But stay in your seat. We're not done yet because I know our sheriff and deputies have a lot of great tips. And you've already heard how we could be able to deter crime in our residences. But you know that commercial burglary, retail burglary is a big issue in our neighborhoods, so and in our community. So with that, I'm going to invite up the City of Industries sheriff to come and talk to us about commercial crime prevention. We have so many small businesses, and so his words of wisdom will be very helpful. So, sheriff?
You want me to go up there?
It's up to you. What are you comfortable with? All right, we have another game show host.
All right, thank you. I'm Deputy Jose Ruano. I'm the industry sheriff, team leader for the City of Industry. And if anybody wants to yell at me before I start, please do it now. I'd rather do it now than later. Thank you for everyone for being here. I commend everyone. One of the things that I've been at Industry Sheriff Station now for about 9 years, going on 10, and that I've learned, and I tell people is that I always encourage you to call. You're not bugging us. Everyone has this thing that they feel they're bugging us when they're calling us for help. That's our job. That's our duty to do. We're here to serve you. And
it's one of those things that we preach, just like we preach the same thing that D. Hodgman was talking about, is see something, say something. Don't hesitate to do that. And we have to pass that on. Knowledge is power. It's simple things, just like Deputy Denver was providing that information. It's the same stuff that we provide to our communities. I mean, if you guys been to our meetings, it doesn't get old. But if you have it, you have to practice it. It's not like Leave It to Beaver where you can leave your door open, just like, and just let people in, let your neighbors come in, and when they smell good cooking, it's just, you can't have that. You gotta lock your doors, you gotta secure everything. If you have cameras, you gotta utilize them. They're part of your lifestyle. If, I've had stories where people have $10,000 worth of video security cameras, these alarms, they go to dinner, they're busy, they're having a good time, their phone's being activated, being triggered with alerts, but they ignore it because it's not part of their routine. When they finally see it, they're calling 911, just like Deputy Denver said, hey, someone's at my house, they're providing an address, we get there, the victim gets his bearings back, and when he finds out, it's like, oh man, that was 3 hours ago. But he saw it right at the time and he reacted, but he wasn't checking his phone. So if you have that kind of system in your house, you need to utilize it. Unfortunately, it has to be part of your lifestyle in regards to that. With commercial burglaries, a lot of businesses around the area, we utilize our volunteers, we utilize our reserves, we utilize the businesses, and it's just communicating with each other. It's the same thing as residential. Most of us spend more time at work with our businesses than at home. So it's the same thing. If you see something suspicious, report it. City of Industry, Roland Heights area, we have a lot of businesses. The holidays are coming. Same thing, vehicles. People go shopping or they leave their gifts in their car because they're big, and then they go back to shop again. So don't do that. If you go to the bank on Colima Road, you have a lot of money, take your nephew with you, take your grandson with you, put it away. I'm just going to piggyback on a lot of the stuff that Deputy Denver says. The City of Industry is providing extra patrol for the holidays, so we'll have more visibility out there to prevent crime. But you got to do your part as well. So, you got to do your part and just be aware of your surroundings. Once again, same thing. If you see something, say something. Those signs that DA Hodgman has, those are awesome. I'm going to grab a stack full of those and provide them to our businesses to put out there. It's just little levels of security that you could have at your house or your business that you could do. Doesn't mean it's going to be 100% bulletproof, because if we had that, someone's going to be a millionaire and they would provide that and sell it to everyone. But end of the day, it goes back to providing something that can help you. It's not going to be 100% bulletproof, but it's going to provide more security. Unfortunately, sometimes what you feel is like, well, you know what, they're not gonna target me, but they might target your neighbor. But please, just be aware of your surroundings. Nowadays, people are on your phone. They're walking, and instead of looking at enjoying the fresh air, they're out there on their phone just walking, and they're not paying attention to what's going on. If you're out there, have your surroundings available where you can see what's going on. If you hear something, act on it. So I don't have much else to say, just that if you have a business, just like a block, if you want a community business watch, if you want a residential business watch, please talk to us, call us. You're not bugging us. If any questions that you have, we're out there to help you with that. We're fortunate enough, us here, that we don't answer calls for service. What we do is we're able to provide time for you to answer any questions that you have. So we could sit down with you, we could walk by your house, we could go through your property and kind of help you with lighting, any tips or ideas that you have, we could provide that for you or your business. So it's something that we could provide to you, and I think it's valuable. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Great. I mean, those are just wonderful advice and tips that both of you have provided. If you haven't started a neighborhood watch or a business watch, please get started. I believe the worst invention, really, and what's really caused a lot of the increases in crimes is just the fact that there's the invention of the garage door opener, and we drive our cars into the garage, we close it, and we don't get to know our neighbors. And so in that respect, we don't know, we're not as familiar with the cars and our neighbors. And so I think when you create neighborhood watch groups or business watch groups, that's an opportunity to know your neighbors and their cars. And this way you know when something is not right in your neighborhood, you can get on it. And call. I'm the captain of my neighborhood watch. Been doing that for 25 years now. And I would say this, thank you. The number one question I always get from my neighbor is, should I call the sheriff? And I said, well, if you're calling me, the burglar is probably gone by now. So call the sheriff. So thank you for the tip of when to call 911, when to call business. But you know what? If you feel like something is wrong, and that's a suspicious car, and trust me, truly the car that was parked outside my neighbor's house was a Mercedes 500. Okay, so it wasn't an old clunker, it wasn't a Pinto. And I just dated myself. It was not a Pinto, it was a Mercedes 500 brand new car parked outside, and that was what the burglars showed up in. So that's a great tip. So with that, I want to open the floor a little bit for the next 10 minutes, and you know I'm going to be watching the time, for anyone to come up to the mic and ask our deputies here any questions that you might have about starting a neighborhood watch, retail watch, anything. Yeah, the mic over there. If you come up, right. And I'm very good at cutting people off too.
Okay, so I will be the first one. Good evening, Deputy. I work in the city industry for 13 years, and then I live in Warner for over 10 years. And then, 10 years ago, I think that Warner and also the city industry is the most safe place I ever seen before. But after 10 years, especially like pandemic period to now, I think that now change. Now it's horrible to us. Especially, I'm an e-commerce merchandiser. And most of my friends, they work in the e-commerce. So we have like a friend, they have a warehouse in city industry. Let me share one story, okay, to you. I think that maybe you already get it, the case.
We have
one truckload come from MSI, very big company. I believe they have like a laptop, something like the one full truckload. They just leave their warehouse, and then the truck being trapped by a car, and then there's another trailer come back and then come out with two guys and then rob the truck. The drivers call 911 and call dispatcher. And then they wait till like it happened in the morning, and then they wait till like afternoon, something 4 or 5 hours ago. And then whole trailer, the merchants, gone. They have to claim the insurance. And then so to us as business owner or the residents, when the criminal things happen, what we can do is that to watch it happen. We can do nothing, and then we feel that the police cannot help us. And then we only thing we can do is that protect ourselves, and then to wait, and then to call the insurance company.
So your question is more about response time.
I just want to see that, well, is that a trend? Is that, if this trend is going to happen, so what improvement that our, public safety can do? I believe that people here, they may have their business. 50% of my friends who run a business, we have experience being robbed. My partner have a warehouse in South El Monte. We got robbed 8 years ago. We lose $500,000 of the products.
Okay, thank you. And we're sorry for your loss. So if you can give our deputies an opportunity to answer your question, sort of.
So that situation, every situation is different. I understand just kind of what I offered. Your property might be, or your business is ran a certain way. There might be things that we can help you with. That we have tips, we have prevention information that we could talk to you about. That's what I was kind of mentioning is we have the time and effort to go to you and experience, to listen to you. We might do a walkthrough, and you could explain to us what happened. We might ask you, well, how's your business ran?
we might give you some information, like maybe you can put a camera here, we'll do that. There'll be any things measured that the priority of the police stations to decide whether they will come to stop the criminal or not.
Just like Deputy Denver kind of explained about when to call 911 and when not to. So last thing we want you to do is get hurt. The best thing you can do, as even myself when I'm off duty, I don't want to be a hero. I want to be a good witness. So because I don't have a vest when I'm not working, I might not have a gun. What I can do is I'll have good eyes where I can see what the description of the vehicle, the description of the person. They might have a certain tattoo on their face, a scar, or the vehicle might have something that stands out. That's going to help us as deputies to be able to get your whatever you lost, your stolen merchandise. So as your driver or someone, what they need to do is obviously number one thing is their safety, but report it right away. And that's where it goes back to, like Deputy Deborah said, someone stole $40,000 from a residence and they didn't report it. The people need to report it right away. Any information they have, and something like that, you would call 911.
Yeah, that's right.
So to summarize what you're saying is basically when you call the sheriff, we don't want you to put your life in danger.
Correct.
And while you are waiting for the sheriff to arrive, be observant and start writing down details of what you are seeing. Perhaps the car, make of the car.
Trouble correction. How many people were involved? We're asking kind of questions to us. Well,
so I'm going to stop you there so other people have an opportunity as well, because yours might be a specific instances, and I really encourage you.
I can provide you my card, my business card. I'm in the city of industry, so we can talk with more time.
So, that case really shocked, the whole, the loop of our business, yeah.
Thank you, sir, for bringing that to our attention, and our deputy will take care of that.
Good evening. My question is, I understand you guys are doing a phenomenal job, doing your best to go after all of the crimes that are happening, blue-collar crimes. But what about the white-collar crimes? Because that is something that I've noticed that since COVID, it's exploded. And in particular, we have an issue where our family had to get an elder abuse restraining order against a property manager because it was just horrendous what was going on. And this was brought forth to the city of Diamond Bar, the city council, and no one's done anything because things are in litigation. But what about the law? If we get this restraining order against someone and he violates it, the recourse is that he's supposed to be put in jail. And he's made aware that he's not supposed to have any contact with us. And yet he's undermined all of that in the face of all the hard work that all the deputies do put to protect the public. And yet, what can we do if we're just given the cold shoulder?
I'm going to answer that thing. So, for us, we have a representative from the city of Diamond Bar and from the city of Walnut back there. Meet us at the end of this. We'll have a discussion about your particular incident. I don't know anything about it, but it's one of those ones you can explain to us, and basically the details that you might have might be so that we say, okay, it does meet criteria to where it's a violation of the order or whatever you may have, because we'll have to see about a valid order, how they've breached it, what were the implications on whatever kind of order you got, what the limitations are. Usually if they have some sort of an order, it's no contact via phone, email, through somebody else. There's lots of different things. And if you have those kind of details to where you have documented that saying like, look, this is the text messages that we've received, then it'll meet some sort of criteria, then we can have somebody document that on a crime report. Okay. So yeah, come see one of my partners in the back over there for the city of Diamond Bar.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
No problem.
Any other questions? All right. So I want to thank the deputies. Oh, yes, Dr. Chang? Mayor Chang.
This is a question that I originally want to ask the DA about it, but unfortunately he didn't have enough time. So I wonder if the sheriff staff can answer this. It's regarding the recent issue of the closure of the men's central jail in downtown without a replacement. And my question is that can you explain how you usually handle the arrest you have every day in your jail, and how do you transfer those arrests to the central jail? And if the central jail is closed without any replacement, that central jail hosts about 4,700 inmates. If that's closed without the replacement, what may have the impact on the communities, especially in Diamond Bar? Are you able to answer that question?
Well, so the closing of the jails, that's really kind of way above our pay grades. But it is one of those things that, what would they do with the displacement of 4,700 inmates? And understand that the inmates that are in Men's Central Jail right now, we're not talking the misdemeanor offenders. We're talking offenders that if you're doing time in the LA County jail system, you probably did some sort of significant criminal act. So yeah, that's definitely one of those ones I go yell and scream at the supervisor's office about. And I'm not sure exactly where they are in that. I know there's been a push because of it's saying that the Men's Central Jail is out of date. So they want to, instead of refurbish it, there's a discussion about, well, maybe we'll just shut that one down so we don't have to deal with any kind of issues that Sacramento, the Attorney General had made some comments about the jail and being out of non-compliance, which is not really a shock from Sacramento. But outside of that, like, that doesn't deter us or change it from what we do. As of right now, we already know that the jails are becoming a little more overcrowded because, like the DA had said, he said it when he first got in there. He said crime is illegal again in LA County. And that was pretty inspiring to most of us in law enforcement to know that we finally had a DA that was going to start doing their job. And so we still do our stuff. In fact, I know we went to Walnut Station. We had a large number of arrests and folks that were brought in last month because we keep statistics on how many people are incarcerated, and deputies are out there doing their job. People are going and taken into custody. From that point, it gets taken to the DA's office. DA does their prosecutions, and then from there, I'm not sure kind of where it goes. So I don't know if I know that there was some the state was housing some of their inmates at Men's Central Jail one time too. So I don't know if it's the state's going to have to take their bodies back. I'm not really sure. So
yeah, I was going to ask you the question, or if some of the beds in the jail is taken up by individuals who should have been serving time in state prison, but because the past governors, as well as the current administration, want to close all the state prisons, and with the change in criminal laws and pushing all those defendants to serve time in county. So for all of you to know, in the past, it's the misdemeanors who are serve their time in local jails. But if you're a felon, you would be in the state prison. But there were so many changes in sentencing law and housing and administrations wanting to close the state prisons that they put it down to county, putting the pressure on county without giving you the funding to take care of these people. So do you think some of that overcrowding might have been caused by a change in direction by Sacramento, or it's kind of a separate issue? I know it's above your pay grade, so take a wild guess.
That's way over. Yeah, I'm not sure about what Sacramento. I don't know what Sacramento's motives are. I do know what Sacramento's motives are, but for us, I don't know if what the closing of Men's Central Jail is politics-wise, or what the whole premise is behind that. But yeah, it is something that we need to be thinking about and discussing. That where would you take and house those number of inmates that are in there, which are mostly
Understand that the jail system has misdemeanor and felony suspects in it pending their court cases. And then once their cases get settled, normally misdemeanor offenses do their time in the custody of the jail, and then the felons go to the state. And so they are both there at one period of time, but I don't know how much. It's usually fairly egregious misdemeanors that are going to the jails right now.
So it's a ongoing issue, but the men, I know the men and women, I took a tour of the men's central jail many years ago, and you know, the men and women who work in there, they're constantly in danger, I think, but they're doing a great job to the best of their abilities. So with that, we're coming to the close of this town hall, and I really appreciate all your time. And so I'm going to give you both, or any of four of you, 2 minutes to make a closing remark before we dismiss everyone.
I guess I'll start it. So just thanks everybody for coming out here. It's important that as a community, we all kind of rally together and discuss the issues that are affecting all of us, because what affects you in Diamond Bar affects Walnut, affects Rolling Heights, affects Hacienda Heights, and etc. So we really need to kind of stay focused on that, and then also keep yourselves and stay informed about what's going on. Attend these kind of meetings to find out what the current trends are. The one thing about the neighborhood watches that happen in my community area of Rolling Heights, I try to have them every year if I can, because the issues from one year can change dynamics from year to year. So you have, you know, now that we went from residential burglary being our number one thing to vehicle burglaries, the South American crews that are working out there, our teams, our gypsy crews that are out there working out there. There's several different things that are out there affecting the community, and we have to have that discussion so that everybody's kind of aware of it. Because if you know what you're looking for, and you know what the problems are for your particular community, that's the way you can make yourself less desirable to target. No, thank you, Walnut Station, for inviting us. I think it's an important thing that we're all here. It's, I always say, and I've talked to me, and it's a partnership with, since TACF has been established, it's been great. You guys just provide immense support to the community. I think you guys have done a wonderful job educating and bringing people together that if it wasn't for you guys, they wouldn't be involved. So getting that language barrier and communicating on our behalf at times has been very, very inspiring. That, you know, I tell people, we're getting paid to do what we're doing. You guys are here in your own time because you're committed to the safety of the community, and your job is one thing, but your house is your kingdom, is your castle, and you want to protect that castle. So whatever we can do to help with that, we're going to provide. So thank you.
And so I want to thank you so much, Deputy Denver, for your PowerPoint presentation. I think they're just full of great tips. Please, like the DA has said, please share it with your neighbors and friends. I'm planning to share it with my neighbors and friends. Those are great tips. And, you know, crime prevention is not just the deputies out in the streets. It's a collaboration between the residents, the businesses, and the deputies who patrol our streets. There are only so many of them. But if we're partners with them, then we're actually adding to their law enforcement capabilities. We're adding to their deputy ranks. I kind of unofficially deputized the whole entire room. But that is the best way we can really keep the bad guys out. The DA won't be able to do his job if we are not there to also help him do his job and prosecute in the courtroom. And I wanted to end tonight with a big appreciation and great thanks to TACF Foundation and UAAA for sponsoring tonight's town hall. It's super informative. We had one last year and one this year, and I'm almost trying to convince them and persuade them to do it again next year, because I think this really benefits all of you. I want to thank our sheriff deputies, and those in the back. Thank you so much. You guys are just tremendous individuals, and thank you for your service and keeping us safe. And thank you so much for being here to participate in this forum, as well as the Los Angeles District Attorney for being here tonight. And a special thanks to AQMD and staff here for making it happen and making sure that this event is also being broadcasted in Zoom. AQMD has been a great partner in making sure that we have this space available to all of you. So thank you so much, AQMD, for making it possible. And last but not least, thank you to all of you for being here. I hope you did gain valuable information that you can go take home and protect yourself, protect your businesses. Don't forget to pick up this awesome sticker in the back. I'm going to open mine in case for those of you who didn't see it, I love it. Warning, this is a protected business. And there is a QR code on there. Put it on your business. If you grab a few, take it to your favorite bakery, coffee shop, restaurants, dry cleaner, whatnot. Put it and ask them to put this up. So because together we can make it work. Thank you so much for tonight.
Here we come to the last part of the town hall meeting. We want to present the certificate of appreciation for the deputies who are protecting us and helping us and doing their good job for the community.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. And there is refreshments as well next door.